For everything scary, I'm GMHaunts, and today I am in Sylvan Beach, New York for the Park After Dark Ghost Tour. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am here in Sylvan Beach, New York for an amusement park ghost tour. Now, I'm filming this on Friday, which means just a few hours ago, I released a Channel 1031 interview with James, the CasperCop, the paranormal investigator. Now, this is his ghost tour. I'm going to be seeing him again in just about a half hour, and this is the ghost tour he hosts. I'm going to be showing you all of the things he talks about and the things that he believes are haunted here in the park, and hopefully we get some paranormal evidence. Now, before we get into the actual tour, I just want to let you know this is a fully functioning amusement park during the day, and the ghost tours only take place during the night. I shot some footage of what this park looks like before dusk falls and before it gets creepy and dark around. So let's take a look at the daylight shots and then the tour.
This here is the Yesterday's Royal. The Yesterday's Royal was built back in the late 1800s. It caught fire in 1910. Legend has it that a female waitress by the name of Abby perished in the fire. It was rebuilt back in 1911. Everybody returned to work. Some say Abby also returned to work. Abby is a female apparition that's seen looking out these top windows in photos. So I would strongly suggest, if you have any cameras on you, cell phone cameras, you just start ringing off a bunch of photos. Chances are you're not going to get anything, you just delete it, but that one time, let me show you what you might be looking for.
Is that what you got, Terry? Maybe. Okay.
Maybe not. In the corner of the Royal, that is located in room number 5, Jack's room. Once again, the legend is if Jack's door is closed, he's in his room sleeping. If Jack's door is open, he is out roaming the park. As a bouncer, it'd be my job if it got hot in there to go up and plug in that fan. It's just a big fan that blows out. It's a small little room. There's no easy way to get to it because all of the doors on this side are locked because you have intoxicated people trying to run up there. So you'd have to go in through the kitchen, up these creepy stairs, down some hallways, through some rooms. You finally get to the balcony. and you walk around the balcony and you get to Jack's room. Well, one night it got hot, and it gets hot up there as well, like twice as hot up there as it is down here. I had to walk up. Jack's door was closed, so I opened it up, and it opens up inward. So I opened up the door, went in, plugged in the fan. Now that fan is pretty powerful. When you plug it in, you can feel all the hot air now just rushing into that little room and blowing out that fan, because you've just created a vacuum and it's blowing out the hot air. So I plugged it in, walked all the way back down, around, turned the corner to the dance floor. I looked up and I saw now Jack's door was closed. Again, physically impossible for that to happen because I did not close it. I walked all the way back up the stairs. By this time the sweat's pouring off of me. I'm drenched with sweat. Get to Jack's room, open up the door swooshes open because I just created that vacuum because the fan is plugged in and it's blowing all that hot air out. And I said, Jack, please don't ever do that to me again. And he never did. Follow me?
Alright, so at this time, the park was now officially closing for the day, which means all of the lights on the rides, all of the lights coming from the buildings, all of that would be turned off because the park was closed. Of course, that means that the rest of the ghost tour would be conducted in complete darkness because now there was no lights in the park, and all the lights in the buildings were also turned off. So the only light that we had was the light from our cell phones and the light from James, the ghost tour host. He had a flashlight that he was bringing us around with. Those were the only lights that we could see in front of us. Now, after this happened, we actually went into the arcade to conduct a ghost investigation. Now, according to James, the arcade is by far the most haunted, the most paranormal evidence caught in the park is from the arcade. So we went into there to conduct our next investigation with coins and with calling out loud. So this is what happened when we went into the arcade. Go slow.
Alright, it's me, it's James. As you can see, I got a bunch of people here who really would like to meet you, and I miss you. Where have you been? There's some quarters for you. Alright. The reason why I put a couple quarters up is because after yesterday's Royal was condemned, the park still wanted to conduct the ghost tours, and I looked out, saw all these old buildings, and I said to them, hey, why don't you allow me to take people through the buildings and we can conduct a ghost hunt? And they agreed. The very first night I was in this building, there was about 6 of us. We were sitting in a circle right here, and we were conducting an EVP session. EVP stands for electronic voice phenomenon. There's a theory that electronic devices can pick up more than what the human ear can. So what you would do is you press record on a recording device, ask a question, wait a minute or two, press stop, play it back, see if you got a response. So as we were doing that, I thought I heard somebody take a deep breath, and I asked, did somebody just take a deep breath? A gentleman 2 people down from me said, yes, that was me. Is that something that you listen for? And I said, nah, well, not necessarily. However, when I'm listening to this back, I'll know somebody actually took a deep breath. And from out of nowhere, we hear what sounded like a coin hit the floor. And I asked, did somebody just drop a coin? Everybody denied it. So I got up. Sure enough, right here, there was a quarter. I picked it up. I'm looking at everybody in their circle there, and I'm like, you sure nobody dropped this? Everybody denied it. Kind of, okay, put it in my pocket. We moved on, nothing else happened the rest of the night. The next night, there was probably 14, maybe 15 people in here. I had the lights on. I said, go in, just like I did. You guys get comfortable, and we're going to go lights out. While everybody's walking around, I hear what sounded like a piece of wood hit the floor. Everybody heard it. So I walked over in this area, and lo and behold, there was a piece of wood laying right there. It looked like it was a door shim, something like to shim a door open with. I picked it up, and did somebody accidentally kick this? And as soon as I said that, a coin, a quarter, come flying over these games and landed at my feet. I immediately put my flashlight, there's two people standing over there, and I'm like, hey, I take this seriously, please no screwing around. And they're like, hey, we don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, yes you do, you threw that quarter. They're like, no we didn't, and I actually argued with them because in my mind, they did it. So I picked it up, put it in my pocket, we moved on, nothing else happened, but I stuck to those two like flies. Because in my mind, they did it. So, the next night, there were only 3 of us in here. That night, I was convinced that this place was haunted beyond any reasonable doubt. That night, we could literally hear what sounded like change jingling in somebody's pocket, and then we'd hear a coin hit over on that side. So we'd walk over there looking for the coin, no coin was found. Then we would hear the jingling again, and then a coin would hit over on that side of the building. So as we were walking from this side to that side, I don't remember what was here at that time, but you couldn't see the corner of the air hockey table where my camera is until you rounded this corner. So as I'm rounding the corner, I looked on the air hockey table and I saw this object. It was probably about that big and about that big around, and it was flimsy and it looked like it was heaping full of quarters, and it slowly rolled off of the air hockey table, and I expected quarters to go everywhere. The sound of only one coin was heard when it hit the floor. And I'm like, I got it. I got whatever it was. I had my video camera right there. And that night, I literally had to step back and go, James, you're the guy, man. You gotta calm down. Because I was scared. I'm better now. I'm explaining it now. But anyways, the next day, I go into management and I'm like, hey, what do you guys collect the coins in the arcade with? And they held up a kitty litter bucket. I'm like, no. I described what I saw. One of the managers is like, wait a minute. So she goes into the back room. She brings out this green canvas bag, round, flimsy. I'm like, that's it. That's what I saw. Where did you get it? Apparently when the old owner passed away, and the new owner bought it, it was here in the arcade, and it came with this arcade. So I thought maybe it was the old owner haunting this building. Well, I was wrong. A year later, we were rolling quarters trying to entice activity. I requested, hey, could you please roll this quarter back to me? I rolled it, we heard it hit the door, and not even 3 seconds later, a little bouncy ball came bouncing back to me. So I was like, you know what, I don't think an old owner's gonna be doing that. I think the little girl is gonna be doing it. So if you're here with us, can you please do something for us? I miss you. Where have you been? All right, let's play some quarters. Can you please roll it back to me? Here you go. You're next, Griffin. Get over here. Here's a quarter. You have to request to do something with it. Some people say keep it rolling. Some people say roll it back. Whatever you want to do, just make sure you request something.
Please roll this quarter back after it stops rolling and hits another object. So the coin throwing attempts and the coin rolling attempts in the arcade were unfortunately unsuccessful. As you just saw from that video, James actually let me try, so I actually threw a quarter tried to get something to happen. Nothing did. James did it. A couple other people tried it. Unfortunately, all of the attempts, nothing happened. We really didn't get any real evidence. The coins just rolled across the floor and didn't come back, even after multiple call-outs trying to capture paranormal activity. So eventually we moved on to our next location, which was basically a retro game area. This is an area that has been shut down for a while because it has all retro games in it. You can't really see it well in the video that you're about to see because we were again in pitch darkness, so you couldn't really see it. But when we went in, we turned the lights on for a second so we could sit down and see what was happening. But this was basically a very old style gaming arcade room, which is what we went into next, and we tried rolling some dice.
All right, I have some dice here. Could you please help me roll a 2, 4, and a 6? Ready? 2, 4, 6. 5, 4, 1. Nope, I got close.
So we continued the dice rolling, and after James completed his turn, he handed it off to somebody else, and what happened next was pretty shocking to everyone who was there in person. Now, you can say that this was just by luck, but I mean, you can believe it. I believe that what happened had something to do with the paranormal. I believe that we were being messed with some sort of entity that was following us around to the different locations. So let me show you what happened next.
Can you help me roll a 2, a 4, and a 1?
2, 1. Oh my God! You gotta try again.
Oh my God. So after this happened, we continued to do some dice rolling. Nobody else in the room was able to get all of their digits to land on what they called, but multiple times, and I mean multiple, probably 10 times or over, people would get 2 out of the 3, and then the last digit would be 1 off. So it would be 1 number away from what they called out. So if you want to call that paranormal, it was strange to see that multiple times it would be so close, 1 digit away from what people were calling out. But the only time we were able to get it exact was the one clip that you just saw, and I was lucky enough to catch it on camera. After this happened, we eventually moved on from the dice rolling and went on to our final building of the night. And this was a sort of eating, dining area that the park has. Unfortunately, we were not able to capture anything in there. James told us that there is normally a cheap cologne smell in this dining area that supposedly comes from the spirit Jack, who worked and who lived in the bar area, which is in another building. Unfortunately, we were not able to smell the cologne. We stacked some salt and pepper shakers. Nothing happened there. We stacked some ketchup bottles. Nothing happened. Unfortunately, we didn't really catch anything in this dining area, which was unfortunate, but it was cool that we were able to see that dice rolling happen, because if you want to call it paranormal, which honestly I do, I think that was pretty cool to see. Alright, so that's going to wrap up my review and discussion of the Park After Dark Ghost Tour in Sylvan Beach, New York. Overall, I had a ton of fun doing this. I had a lot of fun going on the tour, hearing all of James' stories, and my parents even heard and had a paranormal encounter. So while I was filming some clips for this video, I had kind of wandered away, and this is why we were in the arcade. Now, after I had come back, when we were leaving the arcade, my parents actually heard a banging on the door. They told James immediately. He opened the door, and no employee was left in the park, and no one was standing outside. So my parents really did have an paranormal encounter. Honestly, I believe this was paranormal. They opened the door, and there was nobody there. And James opened the door probably a minute or 2 right after they said this, so no one could have run away, because this is in a very open area where you can see really far ahead, and nobody was there. So it was strange. My dad heard 3 bangs on the door after James wanted them, a ghost, to actually knock on the door. Then he heard 3 different knocks. Honestly, I believe this was paranormal. Unfortunately, I did not capture this on camera because I was filming some other clips in the arcade, but my parents were lucky enough to get 1 paranormal encounter throughout the tour. Overall, I really recommend you go check out the Park After Dark Ghost Tour for yourself. There are a ton of other stories that I didn't include in this video, as to not take all of the tour and put it on video. I want you to go and experience it for yourself, because it's a ton of fun and I definitely recommend it. James is an awesome ghost tour, and he definitely has a lot of experience when it comes to paranormal investigation. ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up my discussion and review of the Park After Dark Ghost Tour in Sylvan Beach, New York. I had a ton of fun doing this, and I definitely recommend you go to Sylvan Beach and check it out for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, remember as always, for everything scary, I'm GMHaunts. I'll see you guys later for more Halloween 2021 videos. Goodbye.